What did it say?
Nothing.
On building a successful team. So, those of you guys probably know a bit about our history, but we are arguably one of the most successful gyms when it comes to teams in Australasia. We've got 4 times the amount of any teams to the CrossFit Games than any other gym in New Zealand. So that's 4, and the rest are 1, so that's 4 times the amount. All right? So, I feel like I have the expertise to talk about how to build a successful team. So we're going to be going through a few different points on what it takes to build a successful team. We're going to be talking about things like defining success within your team, making sure that you guys have or are all on the same page about what you want to achieve, making sure that you understand your kind of roles in the team and what's expected of each of you leading up. Okay. First thing that's most important when you are building your team is that you do have someone that is taking lead, someone who is your captain, someone who is going to be helping you, kind of guiding you, coordinating you, organizing the mayhem that is in your team. Okay. Your captain is going to be the person that on the competition floor is going to be able to calm you down when shit hits the fan. And I say when shit hits the fan. There is not one team in history that has managed to get through a team competition without making tons of fuck-ups or dropping the worm or being miscommunicated or anything, well, miscommunicating or anything like that. And so your captain's going to be the person to calm the nerves, bring you back together and get you back working as quickly as possible. They're also going to be the person that's going to coordinate things off the competition floor, the lead up, getting you guys into the gym, making sure that you're working on the right things, and the lead up to the event. So, has every team allocated themselves a captain yet? That doesn't sound very confident. First step. Okay, so if you're in a team that has no clear captain, so some teams just have a natural leader in them, someone that's willing to stand up and just go, yep, I'll take the lead. If you don't have that, you need to figure that out right now, because if you go into it, if no one's captain, that means everybody tries to be captain without realizing it, or nobody tries to be captain, which is even worse. Okay, so you need someone that is going to be taking command of this. All right, so I'm going to give you 90 seconds to figure out. Someone either needs to step up or paper, scissors, rock. All right, the success of your team rests on your shoulders. But you're responsible for the success, but also the failure of the team. No, it's just really important to have someone that everybody can go to when there is something that's not right and that there is a clear leader, someone who's making sure that everybody's actually ready for that event. Like, so a lot of the times at these events, like I know you guys are adults, but most of the time we don't act like adults. It'll be like 5 minutes before an event and someone's at the cafe getting a coffee and you're meant to be corralling and things like that. Captain, this is your responsibility is to go, come on guys, getting everyone together, getting you guys in the right place at the right time, just doing all those little things. We'll have chats about like what's ways to be effective in that, and it is the responsibility of each individual athlete. You're just there to herd the cats the best you can. All right, you can sit down. Thank you, captains. Round of applause for your captains. We'll get you a little C for your chest. The next thing that's most important, this is I think the single most important part of having a successful team, is that you guys are on the same page about what you want to achieve. And there's a few questions that you can ask yourself, and I'm going to get you to ask these questions shortly, but first I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into each of them and just give you a little bit of explanation. So, first is, what do you want to achieve? The second is, what does success look like for your team? And then third is, what do you expect from each other? Okay? So if you can answer these questions within your team, you're going to have a significantly better experience than if you go into it blind with no expectations of each other. Okay? So these questions are really important for you guys to know now, because you've got about, I think it's 5 weeks before you compete. So knowing these now is going to mean that you're going to have a much better team experience. It's not like when you're an individual athlete, you go out and all you have to worry about is yourself. You don't care about anyone else's feelings. You don't care about anyone else's struggles that they might be going through at home or their other commitments that they might have. When you're an individual, you do whatever the fuck you want. When you're in a team, you have those 5 other people where you have to take into account everything that's happening in their life and understand that their expectations as well. Okay? So it's managing that is one of the most important parts of being in a team. And it is not always sunshine and rainbows, even if you do manage these things. There are going to be times where on the competition floor that someone might do something that you don't like or say something that you don't like that might hurt your feelings in the heat of the moment. But you're also all adults, I think, and you can apologize and get over it. Okay? There was times on the competition, semi-finals and the regionals floor where the girls, all 3 of them in our team's X-Pack, slapped Cullum. Full-blown slap. Like, I think it was caught on camera potentially. Because of something that he said in the heat of the moment. But he wasn't very good at that. He didn't really have the empathy there. But it was something that as a team, we had another event in like less than an hour, so you can't be holding on to that shit and being like, oh, blah, blah, they said this about me. Like, that's not going to help the overall goal of the team, okay? You guys need to come together, acknowledge it, apologize, say it was said in the heat of the moment, and move the fuck on, okay? Holding on to that shit is not going to bring out the best result inside that team. Now, I'm not encouraging you guys to slap each other, okay? That was able to happen because we had been together for so long and we were able to go, yeah, oh shit, yeah, I was out of line there and move on, okay? But no slapping, okay? No physical abuse. D? Okay? No physical abuse. All right, so let's dive into these questions a little bit further. So when it comes to outcomes, this first question here, what do you want to achieve? There's 3 most sort of common ones that people talk about. You've got win, have fun, or perform to the best of your ability. Is there any other outcomes straight off the bat that people think they kind of have when going into sort of an event? Okay, we'll stick with these 3. So the first one, going to the competition to win, going to nationals to win, all right? Now, this is a great goal if you know your ability and what the rest of your competitors are like and you have the knowledge that you have the potential to go and win. It is a terrible goal if you're in scaled or intermediate or RX or any of those lower divisions because you have no fucking idea about the level of people that you're competing against and there is no standardization of that, okay? You could have elite athletes competing down, RX athletes competing in scaled, and so you're going into this blind, okay? And a lot of the factors are completely out of your control. You have no idea how well your other teams are going to be competing. Or they might pull something out of the bag and they might have a 10 out of 10 weekend. You guys all perform really well, but they just had the best weekend of their life. And you can't control that, okay? You have no influence on how they perform. And that's why it's often not a great goal for those lower divisions, okay? So that's my recommendation, is that no one goes into this event with the goal to win. And I'll talk more about that. Fun. A lot of people go into competition saying, we're going there to have fun. Now, my idea of fun might be performing really well, where Rob's idea of fun might be having beers on Friday night and wearing a funny hat in the workout. All right? Okay? Fun is subjective. So that's something that if you are saying, hey, let's go down and let's have fun, guys, define fun first. Okay, it's really important that you guys are on the same page of what fun actually is to you. And then finally, the last one, perform to the best of your ability. Okay, this is personally my favorite because you're actually in control of all the factors when you're going to try and perform to the best of your ability. Okay, you're the one that actually controls your lead up, you're the one that controls the food you put in your mouth, you're the one that controls your effort, and it's not reflective of what the leaderboard says. Okay, you going out there and performing to the best of your ability, that is my personal favorite goal when it comes to that. And so, as I said, considerations. If you're in your first couple of years of competing, let's say first year of competing, anyone who's relatively new to it, I liken you to a 6-year-old that started playing soccer a year ago, okay? Started playing soccer at 5 and you're now 6 years old. You have 1 year of experience. You're a child competitively, okay? And so you don't have massive competition experience. So putting huge expectations on yourself to perform at an elite level when you are still a child competitively is unrealistic on yourself, and you're setting yourself up for failure, okay? Because you are still competitively, still emotionally quite young, all right? And so with that, having that kind of realizations going, oh yeah, I'm actually still really new to this, will increase your expectation. Because we want you guys to be competing for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. So this is just the start of your journey. But if you go into this event and you have a shit time and you're just miserable, then you're just going to be like, actually, no, I don't think it's for me. And then you're never actually going to get to reap the rewards of going to those higher levels later on. Okay? So just understanding that competition is a very high skill and there's lots of factors that you have to manage inside that. And then that second one to consider is your ability. So things like I said before, like if you are setting that goal of wanting to win or come into like a really high position, you have to know your ability and you have to know your ability of your competitors as well, which most of you do not know. All right. So I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes, and I just want you guys to have just a little discussion. We'll go exactly 2 minutes. Have a little bit of discussion about what you guys want to achieve out of these sort of 3 factors there, like, okay, figuring out where you guys want to fit into that category. All right, nice. Hayes had a point and a question, and he said, well, like, what if, like, when we get to like halfway through the weekend and maybe we've like got winning within our grasps, like, can we change our goal to being that like goal of winning? It's like, well, you can, but if your goal is to perform to the best of your ability, that's going to lead to that anyway. And if you're coming 10th, 2nd, or 15th, none of you should be going out there going, oh, we're not going to win, so I don't really give a fuck anymore. It should be, okay, well, let's perform to the best of our ability in this event and see how much higher we can get. Let's get ourselves up that leaderboard. Let's finish it a tiny bit higher each time. So it's a valid point, and it was a good sort of observation. It's just having that conversation there is going to be one of the best things that you guys could have done leading into the next 5 weeks, because now you guys are all on the same page, okay? And that makes a big difference. Sometimes it happens organically, and like some teams just naturally do it. A lot of the times it doesn't, okay? And then you've got half the team that wants one thing, half the team that wants another, and then one person who's like, what the fuck's going on? And so it's really important just to have that chat. So, moving on. How can you perform better than athletes who are maybe higher skilled, stronger, that type of thing, all right? And that is be a better team, okay? So a team that works together will outperform a team of individuals, okay? And that's shown time and time again, every like regionals, semi-finals, CrossFit Games, the team that works the best will outperform a better group of individuals. A really highlighted example of this was our 2017 CrossFit Games team, the first year that Mike, Harry, Kirsten, Brooke all went. They had no right to go to the CrossFit Games. But going into it as athletes, as individual athletes, if you took their placings in the open and you compared them to every other team, their individual placings, and you compared it to every other team, no one would have even looked twice at them, because they're like, a couple of them, like, oh, yeah, Kirsten was pretty good. Mike had a couple good finishes here and there, but not individual stars. But they ended up working extremely well as a team, performed under pressure, performed when it counted, and they ended up coming. Where'd you guys come? Regionals, semis?
Regionals,
Third place, right? And so that shows the power of competing as a team, okay? And so like these conversations that we have now, like that's where they're extremely valuable, because it gets you guys on that same page. But also getting to know each other like a bit better. Like you guys get to train in the gym, but like Z, do you know what Jess does for a job? Like Hayes, do you know what Dee does for a job, or like what she likes to do for fun? Like knowing just like those little intricate details about other people's lives and actually getting to know each other makes the difference on the competition floor when you're dying and you're doing 50 worm burpees, and the difference between you guys getting that gold medal and them not is how fast you guys can cohesively do your burpees. And you're like, how does knowing what D does for a job help that? And it's because you actually build like a little bit of a connection, a bond, and you want to hurt and you want to die for the other person in your team. And that is what makes teams work really well, is that willingness to go that extra mile for the person next to you. Because a lot of the time, like as Rob said, leave nothing left in the tank, like a lot of the time you walk off that competition floor with a little bit left in the tank, okay? And unless you're spewing, then you've got a little bit left in the tank, and you can always do that little bit more. But in a team environment, you're reliant on everyone working together, and so you need that untouchable, that intrinsic sort of connection with your team to be able to perform at that higher level, and that only comes with knowing each other. So I'm not saying you guys have to go and like live with each other or anything like that. Might help, but the better you guys do know each other, the better. Like going out and like captains, like after training one day, maybe not today because it takes a bit longer, but maybe after training, go have lunch together, go have a coffee together, like talk about shit like that. Organize to go out and do like an off-site workout together. Like those little things end up making a really, really big difference on the competition floor when you want to perform as a team. All right. And so the next thing, I missed one. Understanding what success looks like for you. This is actually one that we can define a little bit better once the workouts come out, because once the workouts come out, everybody's going to have like individual roles and bits and pieces that are going to play a part that they're going to want to be able to do to the best of their ability. So we'll have a chat about that when those events come out, and then you can define success around each of those individual events and individual workouts. Next one that we're going to be talking about is your lead-up expectations, okay? And so this one's really important. You guys have got 5 weeks now, and it's really important that you guys are all on the same page about what you expect of each other going into trainings. I had some points. Is there swimming this year? In teams? Haven't been told? What's that? Odds are good. So, how often do you expect each other to train? How often do you expect each other to work on weaknesses? What's your team policy on drinking or going out? What are you guys expecting to each other to do in regards to like nutrition? Like they're all like little things, but they make a pretty big difference. Good work, Rob, in your banana. I like it. Okay. And so when you're thinking about these expectations on each other, this is when you've got to take into consideration everybody else's lives, okay? So, for example, Jess has got 4 or 5 weeks left of uni, and she's like in the depths of her study, so us expecting her to be here for 2 hours a day to do training is not a realistic expectation to have on Jess, okay? But you need to know that about your team. Jess has 3 kids, a business, and a whole bunch of other shit that she's got to do. Expecting Jess to be here to be going practicing her swimming and fucking training 2 hours a day or running, all of that sort of stuff. It's not a realistic expectation. Okay, so what we want to do is just have a quick chat about those particular things. So the ones that I really want you guys to touch on, weakness stuff. So like, what do you guys expect of each other to kind of be working on in that regard? Nutrition, socializing, partying. Taylor? And then same thing goes over the course of the weekend. Like, what are your expectations of each other over the course of the weekend? Do you guys expect each other to be eating well, doing the right shit with your nutrition, or is it all good to just go have like pizza after the event? Like, have those conversations now. Okay, so at the event, training and partying. Now, I know some of these things, like me bringing up like drinking or like that sort of stuff, sounds like kind of be like, why would we do that? The reason I'm bringing it up is because it's something that's occurred in on our journey, okay? And so it's important that everybody is on the same page about those types of things. I was never actually meant to be in our 2015 CrossFit Games team. I was never in the original team. The reason I got put in the team is because the team had an expectation and one of the other athletes didn't adhere to that expectation. He decided that he wanted to go and spend time with his new girlfriend rather than coming to team training. I was available, so I jumped in the team, went to that team training. He did it again, and then it was like, all right, you're out, see you, next person in, okay? And so that's where the value of expectations. Now this team had a big goal, something that they wanted to achieve, so those were pretty high expectations, okay? But he didn't communicate any of that with everyone else, okay? He just didn't show up, all right? And so that's what happened. He did end up marrying this girl, so we'll let him off, okay? So it was a valid decision, probably in his mind, but we even got invited to the wedding, which was nice. What's that? Yeah. And so, yeah, that's why it's so important to have yourselves on that same page about those expectations. And then the second thing is just the communication with each other. If something isn't going to happen or you can't do anything, let the team know, let them know why. Make sure it's valid. This is 5 weeks of your life to kind of focus and really dive deep into this. You guys are giving up your whole long weekend and you guys want to have a good experience. So I'm sure no one wants to go down there to have a shit time. And so just doing these little things like communicating well with each other. If your captain puts a question in there in the group chat, respond to the question and let them know. Don't just leave them on scene for like 2 days, okay? Those little communication points are very, very important. But at the same thing goes, like if you can't access your phone from 9 to 5 during the workday, make sure your team knows so that they don't expect you to respond, okay? It's all about those expectations of each other and communication with each other to give yourselves the best experience. Just leaving someone on scene in a group message is very annoying, okay? So figure out what your communication platform is in the lead up to that. And like some of the things, like I was saying, you guys are gonna have dinners together and stuff like that. Well, it's another one of those things I was talking about before, like having dinner together leading up, at the competition and at the event is one of the most powerful things you can do because it's kind of just that bringing yourselves together at the end of the day, a little bit of a recap, putting in what your focuses are going to be for tomorrow, talking about what you're going to be doing that next day. It all adds up and makes a big difference on the competition floor. So that's it for today on the process of building a successful team. I've got one more of these that I really want to do with you guys before we go, before Nationals, and that's going to be just around focusing on the controllables. So the exercise is called 100 Things That Can Go Wrong at Nationals. All right, and it's a very, very good exercise. And so we'll do that at another point before we head away.